We have a history of taking pranks too far.
Let's talk about that.
I'm Jeremiah from Kodiak, Alaska. Good mythical morning.
Good mythical morning.
This episode is brought to you by Catulas.com. That's the guys with the goods, including this remote control Black Widow spider. It's not real, it's remote control.
Ooh, it's felty. It's very felty.
Scare the kids later on. All right, guys, thanks for joining us today. If you haven't submitted your super note, it's still very early. Thank you for the early contributors. But Team Mythical Beast, I'd like to get an early surge. So watch yesterday's video and make your super note response. We can do this.
Now, today we want to talk about some pranks that we pulled in the past.
Why do we want to talk about it today? Why today, Rhett? Tell them why.
Because it is National Prank Day.
No reason. I just thought it would be fun to talk about it. I was thinking about it. Now, we want to preface these three prank stories just by saying that we're not condoning our actions.
Is this a disclaimer? Is this a disclaimer?
Is that what I just said?
Yeah, I'm just asking.
I didn't say proclaim it.
You're making a disclaimer.
Yeah.
You're saying that don't do what we did, just laugh at the stories about it.
Yeah, instead of doing it, and learn from it. Okay, I don't know what it is about crap that it just seems to be the perfect ingredient for taking a prank too far. But that's where we're going today.
I mean, there's
okay,
only
people?
so many things you can do with it. You can let it go down the toilet, you can build like a hut out of it, or you can prank somebody with it.
Yeah, you can. Okay, this is what? Junior, senior year in high school. It was a group of our friends. I know Joey Smith was there. I know that Chris Garner was there. We had a couple of cars. We went to Sarah John's house to meet up with all the girls who were our friends. Mm-hmm. And they thought it would be funny when we went up to the door. You remember this?
Oh.
We went up to the door and they wouldn't let us in.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, let us in. It was funny for a couple of seconds, but
then it got old. It got old pretty quick, and a couple of minutes passed, and then like half an hour passed, and then all of a sudden...
then we got in the car, and we acted like we left, did we not?
Well, and I just remember you were like, listen, I got to use the bathroom. I've got to use the bathroom. Because this is the whole impetus. It didn't start with a prank. It's a prank idea. It started with...
Of course not.
You needed to defecate. You needed to defecate badly. And we're in the country, and there's no other houses anywhere around that we know.
But there is a school bus parked beside Sarah John's house, which I think her mom drove.
And you apparently, somebody had a Tupperware container
I remember
in
was
the car.
white. It was white, and it was about that big.
And you were like,
had a top on.
Listen, I'm just going to go do it in this Tupperware container next to the bus. I was like, okay.
I was crazy.
So then you come back.
First of all, let me say, it is not easy to crap in a Tupperware container squatting behind a school bus. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it ain't easy. I mean, it takes special talent. So kudos to me.
We got to get through these first two fast to get to the big kahuna at the end.
I put it in the box, and then we put it under the front seat of the car. And Amber's car, and then we went and hid. And then finally they decided to come out. We're hiding behind the school bus and the wood pile back there. And then ultimately they come out and they all get in the car and they're like, okay, they thought we were gone because we moved the cars. They were going to try to find us.
I just remember they got in the car and instantly got out of the car and they're all checking their shoes. They're like, oh, somebody's acting crap. And then they go back inside. It took them like 7 minutes to figure out.
It was really satisfying seeing them hop right back out and check their shoes.
And then eventually they're like, ah! And they pull out this Tupperware thing and throw it on the ground. Actually, they didn't throw it on the ground. They picked it up and they threw it in Joey Smith's Chrysler LeBaron.
Well, it's his fault for driving a convertible.
They put it in his front seat. They just dumped it in the front seat. I mean, girls will do that. You know, you prank them and you did it in a nice Tupperware thing and then come and they just dump it on your front seat.
Taking it too far. They're the ones who took it too
far. So that
far.
was the beginning of this whole poop prank thing. And then a couple of years later, while we were in college,
Brooks Ann was a good friend of ours, and all the girls that lived there. We ended up getting into some prank war with them.
Yeah, they started.
And
I'm sure.
I remember one time we came outside, and Greg's car, our roommate, his car was covered in lunch meat.
Yeah, cold cuts.
They thought that was funny.
Cold cut car.
So it was a day or two later. They had a party, and I said, "Have you heard about the double decker?" Oh, you haven't, huh? That's when you go to the bathroom, but instead of crapping in the pot, you crap in the tank on the top.
You take the top of the tank off, you take a deuce in there, and then you put the top back on, and what happens is they repeatedly flush the toilet. It smells like somebody has taken a crap, and they
funny.
And they can't get rid of it.
If you're in college.
And they're like, what is going on? I can't get rid of this smell.
Let me tell you. So she had a little party.
It is a good prank, I will say.
We go over there, and I remember it was a group of us guys. I'm like, all right, I'm going in.
No, but the funny thing is, we were so not suave about it. We just go in there and we're like, we got to use the bathroom in Brooke Sand's room. And we're like, we all got to do it. Right now, we all have to.
Well, we didn't. We went in one at a time in sequence. But let me tell you.
I puckered up like a camper.
You could not go.
I just got up there and I was like, this is the top of the tank. You're not supposed to do that. Not happening.
Yeah, you're like sitting up there. Your feet are on the. Well,
not me. I can just stand there. I can just straddle the whole toilet.
You thought squatting behind a school bus and crapping in a Tupperware was tough. Try crapping on the unnatural portion of the toilet. It is. Well, it's unnatural.
Like walking in on like a person who's just been tamed from the wild. Like, no, that's not how you use it.
Thank goodness nobody walked in. But I mean, a couple of us got a little bit of the floaty out. Little floaties up there.
She never mentioned anything about it.
Never mentioned anything
about it.
We ended up. I mean, you know, a prank's failed when a few weeks later you have to ask. So did you
smell your toilet?
Yeah. So after that,
they did something else back to us though.
Of course they did.
In the process, and I just remember that a couple pranks hadn't happened for a while. All was quiet on the prank front, and then we found out that Brooke Ann's really good friends, who we were kind of good friends with, we're having a really like end of the year party, and it was like a nice party. Like they were asking people to dress up to come to the house. Sent out
invitations.
It was like a nice party.
Yeah, they said dress like semi-formally, and we're like, what? We're not going.
And they were like, bring good food, and we're gonna have like this nice little spread. And it's like, this is college. What are you doing this for?
Right.
But I was like, okay, whatever.
We crap on the top of toilets. You think we're gonna dress up to come to a party? So we were not. We did not go. We were not going.
We shunned them.
We were hanging out, being cool. Hey, we're cool. It's just us 5 guys, 6 guys.
Yeah,
we're just like hanging out in Matt Newkirk's apartment. And then, of course, we get bored. We're not at a party. We're not dressed up. We're not eating nice food. We're just sitting around looking at each other like losers.
Eating Doritos.
And then, so we start telling the story about the first one we told you, the high school story. We start telling our college friends about that one, about crapping in the Tupperware container. And then I remember somebody. I'm not going to mention any names of whose idea it was.
I think it was Tim.
Was it mine? Yeah, let's say Tim.
I think Tim said, hey,
Tim was like,
we should do that tonight.
So we each take turns going into the bathroom, crapping into another Tupperware container.
Now, I will say, I didn't do this. I remember it was you, Tim, Greg, and Matt Harmon.
Well, just because you couldn't make poo in a Tupperware container doesn't make you a better person.
No, listen, I was just like, man, something's not right about this. I couldn't bring myself to.
I don't know what it is.
And I was like, I don't want to be. This is going to be fun, and I'm going to be a part of the crew tonight. You know, I'll help with placement and diversion and stuff, but I'm not going to actually be personally responsible for the poop.
It's not going to be your poop.
I don't want to be tied to this with my DNA. You know, is there DNA in poop?
Of course. Of course.
Okay. Well, this has gotten really immature.
So we should have dressed up at least, but we didn't.
It was disrespectful.
We just go to the party, and I remember Matt Newkirk in his pantry at his apartment had a bag of Lay's potato chips.
Well, and what we said
I go to the bathroom and I dump the Lay's potato chips into the trash can, and then I take the Tupperware container, which had a top on it.
Yeah,
you don't want to transport this stuff in an unsealed container.
It needs to be sealed.
Just take the sealed container, put it in the Lay's potato chip bag.
This is like 5 dudes different poop. This is so nasty.
Yeah, I apologize.
Not mine. I didn't put it in there.
So we go over there and we're like walking around the party. You had to bring food, and I was like, hey, I brought some chips. We're like there, we're at the party walking around. Little underdressed, sorry.
But first of all, we had a plan. I was part of this plan, I will admit, the diversion plan. I was like, hey, I'm going to go into the main room and I'm going to start talking and like get people's attention and like
moving my hand.
Just say something to like get people to focus on me.
Hey, I got some magic tricks. Anybody want to see magic tricks?
And at that moment, Link was going to slip into the living room, which really the party wasn't really happening in that room much.
Yep.
You were going to slip it in, put take it out.
No, just put it somewhere. So I went in there while Rhett was doing his like parlor tricks or whatever you were doing, and there were still a couple of people in there. So I was having an awkward conversation. I was like, "Hey," I had like my bag of potato chips. I'm like, "Hey, Josh, what's up?" He's like, "Nothing much, man. Can I have some chips?" I'm like, "Nah."
You don't want these.
And he was like,
it's a new flavor.
I was like, Rhett's
hasn't been approved.
Rhett's in there doing something. I don't know. It's making a racket. You should check it out. He's like, you're acting weird. I'm leaving. So he goes into the other room, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I put the potato chips under the couch, and then I reach in and I take the lid out, and then I pull the container and I put it under there, and then I just pull out the potato chip bag. And
then you came back into the main room, and you gave me a signal. You were like, and I was like, all right, guys, we got to go. Because we knew that it was going to be perforating throughout the...
Yeah, immediately.
And so we were just like, perforating is not the word. He was going to start ripping apart the home.
Disseminating.
Yes. And we were like, we got to
get out of here.
So we walked out, ran out almost, got into the car. Obviously, we were the ones responsible for this. And then...
Well, no one smelt it yet.
Anyway, we got to wrap this up. But it turns out that within about 90 seconds, they knew something was wrong. Something was bad wrong.
Yeah, we find all this out later that people were like, go! Oh! What? Oh, you meet up. And they scour the whole place.
And so the dudes who were there were getting mad because they knew that we had done something. I heard later that they were getting really mad. In fact, some of those guys
round up a posse mad
are still very mad at me and you to this day. And this is like 15 years ago. I've heard that they're still mad, still upset about it.
Well,
because we ruined the party.
And so eventually they pick up the thing. We didn't dump it out of the container.
Yeah,
it was merciful. We knew the limits. We knew a tasteful line and not to go over.
I think we crossed that very early in this process.
So then, upon reflection and many phone calls that night that we did not answer, we realized that it was a pretty heinous exercise.
Yeah, we realized that they didn't take it as a prank; they took it as an assault almost, and they were upset. And so, in the following days, for some reason, there was 5 guys involved, but just me and you, had to go and apologize. I never understood that, but they were like, Rhett and Link have to go apologize.
It's like we're not ever admitting to that. So you never admit to a prank. So we go and we show up at Brooks Ann's friend's house where the party happened, and we set up an appointment. We called and we were like, listen, we'd like to just come over and have a chat with you. And
I remember it was very awkward because you're still in college and you feel like, man, this is not good. I mean, this was a prank. We got you. But no, we had to get really serious and be like, we are legitimately sorry for this. And we ruined your party.
And as Rhett's talking, I'm reaching under there and I have another one. No.
Boy, that would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Anyway, so to this day,
hey girls, you smell something.
Ladies, we're still sorry about this, and we hope that it never happens again to you or your daughters or whoever you might have at this point.
But it could have been worse.
It could have been a lot worse. It could have been like a dead raccoon with a disease.
Why don't you leave a comment? Let us know the most heinous prank you've ever pulled. Let's keep it tasteful. And if you want to apologize in the comments, do that.
Indecisive burglars.
Hey, look at us. We're coming into this place. Hey, this place looks like a place where we can score some goods.
Listen, they got everything. There's a
microphone here.
There's an iPad.
Look, here's a spider, and I bet it will even...
Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from the burglar land, man.
And they got a card. There's so many things.
What do we take? I don't even know.
Do we take?
Maybe we should take this. It is a microphone, like you said.
And this wheel. Look at this.
Should we take this? It's kind of scary.
We could pretend this is like a vehicle.
No, let's leave that.
So much fun we could have with so many things.
I'm not very decisive when it comes to that.
And there's rugs on the ground.